Hey, let's go win it. Let's go do it. Let's go do it. 5-5. Let's do it. Let's do it.
The edge breaks a tackle. 35, 30. Damian Williams. Sticher bounds. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Kansas City. Damian Williams runs to immortality. Touchdown. Kansas City.
They are invincible, undeniable, and Super Bowl champions. Welcome to Indiana Chiefs Fans Podcast, where we talk about our favorite team. That's right, the Kansas City Chiefs. I am Golden Jay, and with me is not our podcast favorite, Chico Noise. He is on assignment in Pennsylvania. I think they're trying to recruit him to be a Steelers or an Eagles fan. We're going to keep fighting it. But he may join us a little bit later, but with us is the Chief, Phil Jordan. What's up, bro?
Not much. Just ready to get started about the great draft that we had this year.
The great draft. Well, how was your week so far?
Yeah, don't ask. Actually, it wasn't that bad. It's just a hell of a lot of meetings for what I do, and the meetings this week were just horrific. Pretty much 8 a.m. to 3 or 4 p.m. no lunch. So
all meetings all the time.
Yes.
How? Let me ask you this just real quick. How is you productive if you just sit in meetings all the day long?
I use Messenger, and I start dictating or asking people as I get in and out of meetings, please start looking at this, look at that, look at this. So everything's in flight by the end of the day. And if not, then I hit email for an hour or two after supper.
Oh man. Well, I work a regular 8-hour day, and then I spend the rest of my day just doing podcasting stuff. So I'm pretty sure I work about 16 to 18 hours a day.
Yeah. And the other 16 hours is spent driving.
Yeah. Then I drove all day today, every Wednesday because we record these on Wednesday nights. That's all I do all day long is just drive around.
Yeah, and see, I don't mind meetings all day, but I hate it when people schedule meetings between the 11:30 and 1 o'clock time periods because everyone picks up meetings at 1 again. So today was one of those days where 11:30 to 1 was booked. So I just scarfed down cereal and a banana, in 2 minutes between meetings. So, but anyway, other than that, it's a fruitful week. So
good.
Thanks.
Good. All right. Well, let's get into this. Today, we're going to be talking about the Chiefs 2022 NFL draft and the picks that they made. Now, I've said this in earlier podcasts. This to me is one of the most exciting drafts that I've seen in a long time. And I've been researching and going through these players. Now, I don't know that I'm going to get all the names right, but because, that defensive end that we got from Purdue, I'm not sure I can pronounce his last name. You know the one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I'm going to have to practice
you're going to have to, you watch, you're going to see like Bill over there. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see him just kind of muttering, see his lips moving as he's trying to pronounce it. Well, let's start off with their number one, the overall for the 2022, which it looks like we got in a trade from New England. I'm not sure how did that pan out. Any idea?
I knew we had 2 first-round picks. I think we did go up slightly to get them, but we kept both first-round picks.
Right on. Well, that's right. That is correct. I remember now because we did trade a couple spots with New England to take that number 21 spot, where we picked up Trent McDuffie, cornerback from Washington.
I wonder why we picked him up.
I'm not really sure. I know that we're going to dive deep into that a little bit later. I'm excited to hear your research on all of that stuff, but it looked to me like he only spent 3 years in Washington, 19, 20, and 21, from what I can find. And it looked like his 21 was a really productive year. Looks like looks like he ended up with oh my goodness. Yeah. This is he's about 10 assist tackles, 35 total tackles. What do we got? 4 of those were for a loss. Now, I went and watched some video on that dude, and that dude is pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need that player, for multiple reasons. So,
well, he pretty much took over. I mean, he's pretty much going to take over for what we lost the Honey Badger. We lost
Charvarius Ward.
And
Missing one.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
Well, I mean, the main ones were the ones you mentioned already. So,
right,
he's got to take one of those positions. So, because I think right now we have L'Jarius Sneed, Rashad Fenton, and now McDuffie. So that's all we have available currently on our roster, to my knowledge.
Well, yes and no. I know that we picked up a couple other ones late in we picked up a safety, and we picked up a couple safeties. And I'll tell you what, one of the safeties we'll talk about here in just a minute. But we picked up a couple more of those guys that are badass, and I think are going to do us well. Now, take into consideration my thought while I was actually looking into and just kind of reading the stats and trying to look at some highlight reels. Highlight reels are highlight reels. You get 3 seasons crammed into 5 minutes of some of their best plays. That doesn't show you every other play, in the books. So,
yeah, it doesn't show, lost coverages,
right, exactly,
mistakes, whatever it might be,
right.
So
our opinion as of today is just from highlight reels, and we do understand that there is more to these players than just the highlight reel. So, but yeah, I think that was a good pick on our part. I think he's strong, and I think he's going to cover well for sure.
So I see what you were talking about. I went ahead and pulled up the active roster. So on other cornerbacks and stuff that they
right, corners and safeties. Yeah.
Yep, you are correct.
Yeah, we picked up a couple other, in free agency, and what do I got? At least 2 more, 2 safeties that came up in the draft. So I'm not 100% sure that, round 7 is going to make the roster, but he was still a pick in this year's draft.
Yeah, you never know.
But we'll talk about him here in just a minute. But yeah, Trent McDuffie, I think, was a wise pickup for us. We definitely needed it. Me personally, I hated seeing the Honey Badger go. I really, really thought they'd work it out, but I don't know what the deal was there. I'm just not 100% sure.
If I had to go on a limb, it's the amount of money and the age. So, and he did have a few injuries last year. So I'm just guessing, hypothesizing.
It's interesting, and I'm definitely not. I don't want to talk down about him, but if you actually watched his reel, not his highlight reel, but just his reel in general, he had a ton of blown coverages and a lot of things that he just kind of, you'd see him out there on the field with just his arms up, like,
yeah.
What I really, really liked about him was his leadership in the locker room. I think he was a good, amazing leader. And I think he brought that to the team, and they looked to him for leadership and guidance and all that stuff. But
yeah, and on the field, he was, calling coverages, moving coverages, he was, all about that,
Right.
So he constantly saw him, not yelling, but helping the other players get in a better position based on what he thought was going to happen. So defensive leader on the field.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. And I think that is something we're definitely going to miss very much so.
Yeah, you can't replace that.
No.
obviously. Hopefully someone steps up, that's on our active roster, or even, I mean, for all I care, it could be a rookie that's got a, big set of kahunas and, takes the bull by the horns for all I know.
Well, at this point, I mean, if you see that slot's open, you need to take it. You need to get out there and make it your own and, become that captain, so.
Yep.
All right. So let's say round number 2. So we took in 21, but we also took at number 30, which was George Karlafakis. That's the best I'm going to do today with that one. He's a defensive end from Purdue. And that's the name I was talking about. There was no way I was going to be able to pronounce it correctly. So I apologize to George. Once again, this is interesting for me because I have a lot of friends who are Purdue fans. What is it? What is it?
Karl Aptis.
Yeah. There you go. But I have a lot of friends who are Purdue fans. So to me, it's interesting to talk to them. And they didn't know that Kansas City drafted him because they don't really pay that close of attention to the NFL. They're more about college. And they were like, you guys got a super badass defensive player right there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch any of his highlight reels except for during the live draft. But what I remember seeing him again, he's gonna hopefully get us out of the hole from, our pass rush was horrible last year.
Oh my God, it was terrible.
I don't know. We were 29th or 30th in the league. I mean, pretty much dead last for all for all intents and purposes.
Right.
I see him putting that pressure on, and that's going to help our other folks, like Chris Jones and Frank Clark, if we got a third or even a fourth type of rusher on the defensive line or at the linebacker position. So I think he's going to be an immediate impact player.
Well, and even if you watch some of the interviews with him after the draft, in the weeks to follow, I mean, he's ready to go out there and just eat meat, man. He's ready to tear it up. He's hungry. He is hungry, and he wants to prove himself in the NFL. And if, Kansas City is a great place to do that, we'll definitely take it.
Yeah, I mean, we have a good defensive-minded coach. He's been around the block more than once. So I have faith in whatever shortfallings that they see in them. Everyone has a something they got to work on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That they get him ready for the start of the season as if he was a seasoned player is my hope.
Yep. And we'll really get into that when preseason starts. So we're definitely going to have to keep a very close eye on him.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, game 1 or 2, we might get to see, or there's only 3 games. That's right. I keep forgetting that.
Right.
Which I love, but this year we don't get the extra home game. The other team does, the NFC. So, or whoever.
We have 2 of them. We have 2 home games in the preseason this year. Oh, well, we don't get the regular home game in the regular season.
Exactly.
Okay,
that's what I'm alluding to. Sorry,
gotcha.
I didn't make that clear.
Sorry. Yeah, you got me a little confused. I thought we were talking about preseason.
Yeah, because I was super happy when we got the extra game, and it was I think it was a night game against Green Bay.
Yep.
So that was awesome.
Gotta love it. So, well, next year we'll get the extra game next year. All right, so let's go on into round 2, pick number 54. We picked up a wide receiver from Western Michigan by the name of Sky Moore. And have you been watching his workouts and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's insane.
It is amazing.
Yeah, he's I would have to say probably about the same height as Tyreek was, because he's only, I think, 5'10", 5'11". So he's a short guy, but he's shifty and fast.
Right.
Now, is he gonna, beat out, Tyreek in a 100-yard sprint? Probably not, but he's got a lot of footwork. He's got the hands and the footwork, which I think make up for it.
Oh, he's definitely got the hands, and you can tell with
Yeah.
some of these workout videos of that they're showing of him that is what he is really working on is ball security and stuff like that. I mean, let's face it, nobody's going to be as fast as Tyreek.
No.
I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, Tyreek was the cheetah. He's fast, period. Some of these guys are coming close, but
Yeah.
they're not as fast. McCall Hardman was supposed to be as fast or, just a step behind him. So we still got that speed over there. And of course, picking up Juju Smith
Schuster.
Thank you.
And Marquez Valdez Scantling.
Yeah, or
MVS.
MVS. There you go. I was trying to get that in my head real quick and I just missed it. But picking up those guys plus adding Sky in there, I don't see the whole Tyreek thing being horrible for us.
So
in a hole coming out of you won't have that 80-yard big play, but I still believe that we don't need that 80-yard big play every stinking time.
Still think you're going to see it because instead of having 3 weapons, because I'll be honest, McCall Hardman, didn't work out the way I thought he was going to. He had flashes of brilliance. But long story short is, we're bringing in 3 or 4 receivers for 1. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, again, we're not going to replace the talent of Tyreek Hill.
Right.
No one's ever going to dispute that. But now look at, you have 3, 4 weapons on the field, including, if you throw the running back in, potentially 5, spread that field out. There's no more double or triple coverage.
Yep.
And of course, the greatest tight end in my mind ever, Travis Kelce.
I agree.
So, it's a loss, but I think in the long run, I think we're gonna strive and do just as well, if not better. Because as you notice in the Super Bowl loss, look what they did. They took away Travis and they took away Tyreek Hill. Game over.
Yep.
I mean, not to count that our offensive line was in total disarray, but and that was due to injury, not due to poor play.
Right.
But we were counting on 2 or 3 people for the whole offensive side of the ball, and I look at it in this new light that okay, now we got 5 people, maybe maybe more.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, that's my take on the receiving core at this point.
Yeah. I just want them to get away from that throwing that 80-yard ball because they just seem like that was their go-to, and everybody figured it out. So
I don't know if you saw that one meme out there. It was a photo of Patrick throwing to Tyreek, and he couldn't see him, and it said, "Fuck it, I know he's out there somewhere." and it was one of the ones he caught that was like 60 yards for a touchdown.
Nice.
But someone made a meme of it and just put above it.
That's funny.
Yeah, I liked it.
So we took Sky Moore at number 54 in round 2. At number 62 in round 2, we took Brian Cook, a safety from Cincinnati.
Yep.
Now, if you have time, listeners, friends of the Chiefs, go watch his highlight reel. Oh yeah, this is a safety that I think is. He once again he hits hard, and he just seems to put himself in front of the ball. From what I've seen, once again, it's a highlight reel. I understand that. Don't get mad at me. It's a highlight reel. But I mean, when you have that many highlights to look at, that it tends to say something about the safety from Cincinnati.
Well, the one thing I'll add is, they're going to get burned. They're going to be rookies. They are rookies. They're going to learn from it. Much like our offensive line last year was pretty much all new. I'd say about the 4th or 5th game, they gelled. Hopefully we get the same effect, with all these, these top picks that we expect to be playing, week 1. But I know there's going to be a missed block. Mahomes is going to get tackled, a missed coverage. I expect it.
Right. Well, I mean, it's just to be expected. You ain't going to be, You're going to be on your game 100% of the time. I mean, there's things do happen. That's why the NFL is the NFL.
Yep. And that's why going from college to NFL, they always say the game is much faster. So, listeners, we have high expectations, but there's going to be some letdowns along the way. But I think what we got in the draft, obviously we got more to cover, is really solid players.
Oh yeah. Well, I really like this Brian. I like this Brian.
Yeah.
Brian Cook. I think he's somebody we should definitely keep a close eye on in preseason, and see what becomes of that. Because you said it the best that I could ever say it, and that is the speed and how quick the NFL is compared to college.
Yep.
It is so much faster and so much harder hitting. It's the same as hockey. I mean, you didn't like the harder hitting part. Is that funny?
No. I was thinking of a movie quote. You know why we're in the NFL? Why? Because we're the best of the best of the best, sir. Sorry, that's a quote from Will Smith movie, Men in Black.
Oh, gotcha.
The very first one, when they're taking that test with the egg seats, and they ask, "Why are we here?" Because we're the best of the best of the best. But that's how I feel about the NFL. You don't get to the NFL without being the best at your position coming out of college.
Right. Yeah, you don't get drafted if you suck.
That's why I'm not in the NFL.
Oh, I couldn't take a hit from any of those guys. I don't care. I couldn't take a hit from the kicker.
Not even the one smoking the cigarette.
Not even the one. Ole. Anyway, but yeah, I reference that to hockey. Hockey's the same way. If you ever go to like for us and here in Indiana, we like to go to the Comets game in Fort Wayne. But if you
Blackhawks, man,
no, the Comets are a lower seed in what I don't even know what's
what, Class A or
Triple
A or
whatever the case may be. I'm not even sure, because they keep changing it around so much. But when you go to see a Blackhawks game or an Avalanche game, it's 100 times faster.
Oh, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know what the deal is, but it's just, I mean,
yeah, I've never been to a quote unquote college or AAA hockey game. The only ones I've ever been to are Blackhawks. So
right on.
Yeah, we should go to one so I can see exactly what you're talking about.
Oh man. Well, we'd have to do them in comparison. So we'd have to do one and then go up to Chicago and see the Hawks play the Avs.
Yeah.
And I can wear my Avalanche jersey. Boosh.
So I do own a Blackhawks jersey.
You better.
And it's signed by Chelios.
Did you meet him at his restaurant?
No, I did not. I ordered. I was going to a playoff game with a vendor, and they had the club seats where you get all the free food. And I'm like, I don't own a damn jersey, and I'm going to the playoffs. I just can't show up in my Chiefs jersey. So I did buy one, and I figured for an extra $50 I'd get the signed version. And the vendor sent me the wrong jersey. Didn't even have the signature, and he said, "Well, the only one I have left is an official jersey from the Hawks." And I was like, "Sucks to be you, because you're shipping that to me."
Right.
And he did.
Nice.
So I have an official Hawks jersey with the fight strap. So
nice.
And I won't tell anyone the price, because they'll
cry.
Yeah. But anyway.
All right. Back to football. Let's go into round number 3. Pick number 103. We took Leo Chanel, linebacker from Wisconsin. Once again, watching the highlight reel on that guy, and he definitely has an eye on the ball, which is pretty impressive. And I think matching him up with Nick Bolton out there, watch out.
Well, I hope he gets higher, more playing time than what I read online that's projected. So,
is he projected not to have a ton of playing time?
Yeah, because they have Gay Bolton, and they added Jermaine Carter. So, he's, slated from what I read, and it could have changed, obviously by now, but, he'll be a rotational player and potentially special teams.
Right on.
But that could have changed. Like I said, we go off of what we know, not what's always factual, by the way.
Right. Right.
We forgot our disclaimer earlier.
Yeah. That is our disclaimer for sure, is this is all of our own opinion and not necessarily there's not much facts to back it up. But last year in 2021, he did have 8 sacks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive in itself for a college team.
Yeah, and I think he's going to get playing time regardless. There's injuries throughout the year, stuff like that. So I think he's a solid, very solid, backup player at this point, if that's the role he has to play. Or, hopefully, if need be, he could be a starter. That's his job to get in training camp, right?
You know as well as I do, when it comes to injury, he may get more playing time than he expected. So
so it's good to have depth on your team. A lot of years with the Chiefs, we didn't have that.
Right.
One of our main players goes down, we're done.
Yep.
And I can safely say, what was it, 2 or 3 games last year, or was it the year before? The Cheetah was out, and we still managed to win.
Mm-hmm.
So it just goes to show, we lost, the Cheetah, but we have some great players that are here in his place.
Definitely, for sure. Yeah. I'm excited about that wide receiving core. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's what
I can't wait to see him in action. Game number 1 and to see what's going to happen with all that.
I just want to see Patrick go like this. He's open. He's open. He's not.
Oh.
He's not. He's open.
Who do I throw to? Who do I throw to? Dang it.
Too many decisions. You know what? I'm just gonna run with the ball.
Once again, there's that. Let's not make him a pocket quarterback, but no, we don't want to send him out on every running every play, like they do in Baltimore. But did I say that out loud? I might have said that out loud.
Yes, you did. And it is a fact that running quarterbacks don't last long in the league.
Oh man, and I think that's what they did. I see it with Mahomes. I've seen it with Russell Wilson. You've seen it with others in the past, where they were, started off as running quarterbacks to make things happen. And then they're like, no, you need to be a pocket passer. Yeah. And it doesn't really go well, in my opinion. But
I think Russell embraced it pretty well now, versus, 5 years ago.
Right.
I think he's embracing the pocket passer, but where he sees an opening, just like Patrick, he'll take it. But he's not looking to do this, 30 times a game
exactly
anymore. Yeah. So, it's unfortunately the highest paid players are normally the quarterbacks, and if they get hurt, it is next man up.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the Chiefs' case, the third man up during our playoff run. Trying to remember his name. He was teaching high school football at the time, but oh man, he came in and helped us win a game.
We're talking about Chad Henne?
No, Henne got hurt.
Henne got hurt, and then
we went out and got the one that played with Reed before, and he played for a game, and then he was on the roster throughout the rest of the playoffs. He got a Super Bowl ring out of it. Gosh, I can't remember his name though.
Now I'm drawing a blank because I think I know who you're talking about, but I'm drawing a blank.
But to my whole point is, with the draft, we're not only drafting people that we feel will be starters, we're drafting people that'll be there for injuries or rotational players, or
right.
You never know what's going to happen in a season with your offensive line, your defensive line, your backs, your quarterbacks. So we got to have solid replacements.
Agreed.
That we're confident in. So
well, and the other part of that is they got to know the system. I mean, you can't just have somebody come in and sit on the bench and look at a clipboard and not know the system. That is very true as well. And so your Chad Henne's and your your Leo Chanel's. I mean, that's what they need to do, is they need to make sure they know that system and learn it inside and out, so that they can just step in and just go.
Yep. And obviously, I think the Chiefs organization feel that, some of these players will be, leaving, in the next few years, so kind of like Patrick Mahomes, he sat behind the great Alex Smith that we talked about in our other podcasts. And the next year, the reins were given to him. So, being that he's a 3rd round pick, I could see that being a scenario
Right.
coming into play.
Right on. Well, let's jump up to number 4, round 4, number 135, Joshua Williams, cornerback from Federville State. Did you look into him at all?
The only thing that I looked up for him has nothing to do with football. I'll be honest. But I will say, he's the first player that from a historical or primarily black college to be drafted since 2020.
Oh, really?
So I think, that's a diversity point, and, stuff like that. And not that we're, looking at diversity, but it was just a little tidbit that I saw on the site about him. Nothing to do with his playing ability, but it's good to see that, he got drafted in the 4th round at 135.
Well, and let me tell you right now, when I was researching him, there ain't much on him out there. Just a very few stats. I mean, his career, he's got 79 tackles, and defensive starts. Let's see.
Yeah, he's definitely a development player, regardless of how you look at it.
Right.
Because we already have, we took McDuffie already, in the 1st round.
Right.
So, and, the other free agents that they brought in as well. So, I mean, if you look at this guy, man, he must work out, 24/7. I mean, he's built like a beast. So I wouldn't want to get hit by him. So, just looking at his physique and stuff, I didn't look at game tape or anything. Like you said, there's very little out there, but oh yeah, that's probably why he's sorry, I just Googled him while we were chatting. He's coming from a Division II school.
Right on.
So I think they see potential, and Veach finds these kind of players out of nowhere. What round was Brett Favre taking in, or Aaron Rodgers, or they weren't first or second. I'm trying to think. Or Tom Brady. Sorry,
Tom Brady's the big one that you always talk about. He was like, what, a 7th round pick, 200 and something.
Yeah, so you never know. And Veach has been a beast in these drafts. So I have all the confidence in the folks that they're putting into the system.
Right.
But that's why I'm thinking you don't find a lot of film on him, because he was in a Division II school.
And he was just kind of hidden.
Yeah. And like I said, the one, I'll say it one more time, that, he's from a historically black college.
Right.
And, the first to be drafted since 2020. And, kudos to him for working, and kudos to the Chiefs organization for finding him, hopefully.
Right on. We will look forward to hopefully seeing what becomes of him. So,
yeah, I mean, like I said, I think he's all developmental unless someone gets hurt.
All right, well, let's move on to the 5th round, number 145. This is funny. This is funny because this pick was from Seattle via Detroit via Denver.
Oh yeah,
that always kills me.
That. Well, because I know we did a couple trades, oddly enough, with New England, which kind of surprised me. I think we did 2 different trades over the draft.
Well, is New England just looking for more draft picks so they can fill out their roster because everything's falling apart? I don't know. Did I say that out loud too?
Yeah.
But anyways, round 5, number 145, Darian Kindred, an offensive tackle from Kentucky. Let's see what I got on him. Looks like he didn't do a whole hell of a lot. Wow, that really kind of fell flat, didn't it? Sorry, guys.
Wow. Man, I think Darian Kennard's gonna come to your house after he watches
I know.
this podcast.
He's gonna be like, that little fucking bitch. I'm gonna go over and kick his ass. Come on over. Let's sit down and talk, and you can tell me what you've been up to. Nice. As far as his stats go, yeah, he's only played a couple games, couple of tackles, and everything else is not really looking good as far as number wise, but
Well, the only stat I see is he started 39 games in college.
well, hey, that's 39 games that he started. I don't have that stat on my thing here.
Yeah. What I said, he started 39 games in college. They expect him to compete to be a starting offensive lineman.
Right on. Well, we got a pretty solid offensive line coach, so I think maybe he can teach him how to be an NFL player.
Yep. I'm yeah. So that's the two tidbits I found on him was, don't be surprised if he's not on the starting with the first team and 39 games in college.
Right on. All right, let's move on to round number 7. Apparently, we didn't have anything in the 6 this year. Round number 7 is number 243, and it's Jalen Watson, cornerback from Washington State. It looks like he only played a couple years up there in Washington State. He's got quite a few games underneath him. Looks like he's got like 34 solo tackles, 10 assists, total tackles of like 44. Obviously, when you put 34 and 10 together, you get 44. Wow. A couple for a loss. I mean, there you go.
Oh, sorry, Jeremy. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was saying the way I see this is yet again, it's a position that, we were hurting at last year due to injury. He could maybe be a practice squad or, real low on the totem pole, but, I think it's a solid pick as far as building depth on the team.
Right.
Heck, just look at our past history, we had 2 cornerbacks and a safety, I think, out at one point, or hobbled at least, on a couple of games. So I think they're filling those holes, with folks that they think can do the job. I mean, that's where I see this guy fitting in. I mean, they already drafted, what was he, number 1? That we talked about earlier.
Trent McDuffie, number 1 corner.
Yeah, I mean, so, and this guy got drafted at number 7. And as you pointed out, they also brought in some other free agents. So,
yeah, we're definitely not sitting down on that. I mean, they're really stacking the defense this year. They're really working on trying to put it back together.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, we can't keep that type of defense with a prolific offense that we have,
Right.
Goes back to what I said in the other podcast on, what they asked about scoring points on offense and the defense not protecting it.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. I'd rather us have a mediocre middle of the pack, 15, 20 rank, give or take.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah. We don't need number 1 on every side.
No. I mean,
we just need to score points.
Even if we had, let's just say, the 5th ranked offense and the 12th ranked defense, to me, that's a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
Yeah. Because usually in our past, we've had either a top 4, top 5 offense and a bottom 2 defense, or the other way around. Yeah. Or we have a defense, which is number 1 or 2, and then our offense just cannot get past the first down.
Elvis has left the building. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, you said it out loud. So also in the 7th round, pick number 251, we took Isaiah Pakachu. Paka.
Don't say Pikachu.
Once again, Isaiah, my apologies for not saying your name correctly. That's
I think
a lot for me.
I think it's Pacheco.
But he's a running back from Rutgers. Now, I did a little bit of a dive on this guy because running backs always interest me because, let's face it, running backs are a short-term career move in my mind. And not very many of them have a very longevity.
I agree with that, and I'm going to throw in one last thing before you go into what you found about them. The Chiefs somehow always find the hidden gem running backs.
This is true. Very, very true.
I mean, the running backs, if we don't get me wrong, running backs for the Chiefs, you guys are awesome. But if we could have done the same thing at the quarterback position over the years, our stats might be slightly different. But
Right.
for some reason, tight ends and running backs are like the Chiefs' forte normally.
Yeah, we've had some great running backs over the years, for sure. I really like this guy. I think he's going to be a workhorse. What I heard projected for him was probably more of the special teams and keeping him on the charts for depth. But the special teams is probably where they're going to end up, where he's going to end up. But I think for sure he's going to end up on the roster.
So I think once again they're loading up on running backs. We had quite a few injuries last year and the year before where we were down to our third stringer, which still did a decent job, but they're not starters by any stretch until Derek Gore came in.
Right.
I think like you and I talked personally that bringing Derek Gore back was a huge move in my opinion. I think he could compete with Clyde Edwards any day of the week, personally speaking.
I was so bummed when no offense to Allaire, when Allaire came back, and I was like, no, we need to get Gore more field time and let him kind of get it field out, get that feel in being in the game and playing, because when he did get a chance to play, you got just moments of greatness.
Yeah.
A greatness, as far as that goes, but you had your moments where you just thought that he's can be something super special. Now, what I see is on Sunday, watching the game. I mean, I haven't put down my popcorn in my beer to go, to go be the guy who knows what every team's going to do prior to doing it and all that stuff. But, so what I see is only on Sunday only. I don't see what those guys see during the week, the practices and all that stuff. And, those guys know football way better than I do. And, you trust their decisions for what they do. So, but yeah, I think he could be solid from just a little bit of looking into that I did on him. Take a peek at some of his stats here, at Rutgers. He didn't have a ton of yards. I think his last year in 2021, 647 yards. On 167 attempts. I mean, that's not a ton of yards, but that's probably more than I'll get. But
oh, sorry, Jeremy.
What did I do?
You didn't do anything. I went to check a stat on him, and my eardrums got blown out by some music that loaded on a page.
Oh.
So it took everything for me not to just rip my headphones off.
Yeah, been there, done that.
So I just laughed about it.
So yeah, his averages are about anywhere between 5 and 3.9 yards per carry. So I mean, I'll take a 5-yard carry almost any time. You can walk down the field on a 5-yard carry. So
yeah. Wonder if he has hands also or not for a passing back, or if he's just a straight, running.
Right.
Sounds like he's probably straight running back, because I don't remember us passing to him when he played. I'm sorry, I'm talking about Derek Gore. I'm back on Gore. Sorry,
why are you back on Gore? I'm talking about Isaiah.
Say his last name again.
Nuh-uh. Pacheco. There you go. How about that? I come close.
Sorry about that. My brain went off onto a tangent, which I have a tendency to do when I get stuck on a player like Derek Gore.
He's all about Gore right now, and I've been all about Gore for a long time. So
all right.
since I first saw him play, I just so excited about Gore. Let's go to round. We're still in round 7, obviously. Number 259. Nazee Johnson, safety from Marshall.
Is that like We Are Marshall?
We are bum. He's a 5-year guy from Marshall. It looks like going in his freshman year in 2017, 2-time senior. What do they call that? A red shirt senior or whatever, where they stick around an extra year.
I don't know.
Come on.
I always thought college was 4 years. So unless
it is, but this guy was here for 5. He liked Marshall, so he stayed for 1 more year. Maybe he was working on his bachelor's or his master's or something like that. You just don't know.
No, true that. Or he enjoyed the football.
It could be.
Maybe need another year under his belt.
Maybe because his he only played 7 games in his first senior year.
Yeah.
So looks like he got 10 in on his on 2021. I mean, stats are he's got about 43 solo tackles and 24 assisted tackles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's definitely a workhorse, but I don't know that. I mean, once again, that's a safety position. So is that depth or is that practice squad?
I think it's practice squad, to be honest. I think we have 4 or 5 safeties ahead of him. Or he just might not make the roster for all I know.
Right.
Because there's I think we have 91 players. Those cuts are hard and fast.
They come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What does that get down to? Help me out here. Is it 52?
51 man
51?
roster, I think.
Right on. So
and then you got your practice squad players, of course, right?
Right.
So
there you go. That is the official 2022 NFL draft picks. But I do want to touch on one thing real quick. We picked up a wide receiver, undrafted, by the name of Justin Ross.
yeah, you mentioned him. You said you were impressed with him, I think.
I am very impressed with him. I just and a lot of the analysts and stuff that I kind of went on about really talked highly of him. The downside is his injury that he had, and I believe
was that a head injury or
it was
or
hold on, it's a spinal. He had a fusion on his spine. But they're saying that in the early training camp that he's looking really, really good.
Yeah, I always wish for everyone's safety. And,
exactly.
Exactly. Kind of like we talked in, the other podcast about Priest Holmes,
Mm-hmm.
It's great to make the team, it's great to work hard. And I hope, he works out to be an awesome player for us and, doesn't get injured at all. And, but I always had that in the back of my head when people have those special injuries, it kind of bothers me in the back of my head.
Well, and I mean, it's something to really take into consideration. I mean, he's putting himself out there, as well as I do, those wide receivers, they go up for that ball and they come down hard, whether they're being hit or whether it's just hitting the ground,
Oh yeah.
Anything can go wrong at any moment. And when you've had a serious injury like that, that's got to be a big concern. But, if the doctors and everybody said that he's good to go, then, you got to get out there and prove yourself. And, for Kansas City to sweep in and pick him up right out of the draft, props. I think he might be a nice little,
another Veach find.
You just never know. It'll be exciting to see what happens with him. If he gets playing time.
Yeah.
Once again, you have all these great wide receivers that we keep picking up, and that's going to be a tough spot to fill. So.
Yeah, I mean it's they got a lot of depth. They're gonna have a lot of options. So.
And I think that is perfect for what we really need to do. Once again, let me re-emphasize, we don't need an 80-yard play every stinking time Patrick touches. No, we do not. Because they figured it out and they took it away from us and we just didn't know what else to do with ourselves. It's like, oh, well, we'll just keep throwing it down there and see what happens.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm a big fan of Tyreek Hill. I love what he's done for Kansas City. And I hope that when it's all said and done, he comes back and retires as a Chief. I mean, I really, really hope that that's what he decides to do. But I personally think that Tyreek leaving and going to Miami was probably one of the best things that could have happened to us in Kansas City. Not because I think he was an explosive player, because he was an explosive player. but I think that it became that one option, that big option. We always need to go to Tyreek.
Yeah. So as I told you before we started, I spent I don't know, some time on, what we have on our wide receiver core.
Uh-huh.
So we already talked about Juju. We already talked about MBS. Obviously, I count Kelsey as a wide receiver,
Pretty much.
even though he's a tight end, but not counting what we have in the draft, we also brought back Josh Gordon again.
Mhm.
For some reason, they're still working on this guy. There's a Justin Ross.
Yep. Justin Ross was the one that they picked up in the
Okay.
undrafted. Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Cornell Powell.
Oh yeah, Powell. Yep.
Omar Bayless and Matthew Sexton. So that's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide receivers.
Well, and don't forget, you count Travis Kelce as a wide receiver, but don't forget about dang it, Noah. Well, there's Noah Gray, and then there was the Fortin kid that was amazing last year until he got hurt. And look who joined us.
So hey, look at you all in your hotel room. See, you have poor lighting this time.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what? There you are.
What'd you say? Gunner's like, shut up.
Hey, there we go.
No, we can hear you. I'm just messing with you. Hey, you need one of those halo lights. This sounds so familiar.
I know, right?
A little dark. Hey, you got one. It looks good.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look at his new mic arm there. He's got there. Look at that bad boy.
Yeah. See, Jeremy had to help me figure out that it did have an adapter.
It did have an adapter, and it does work. It's great.
That's funny. But so we're talking about wide receivers. We kind of went over the players in the draft. But I did some work on kind of the numbers game I think Beach was thinking about in his brain. So we take all of the wide receivers that we have on our team right now, including the cap hit and the cash payout. We're spending $23,560,000.
Okay. 1
year at Tyreek is approximately 30 million.
So
we got 9 receivers. Not that we're going to keep them all potentially, but
right.
In my calculations, again, people, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I did check over the cap. It's usually pretty accurate. Cap hit and cash payout. Again, for our receivers, I calculated at 23,560,000, and Tyreek Hill got paid a little over 32,000 this first year.
32 million.
Yeah, 26,000 and a payout, and then 26,600, 35,000 and a payout, and 2022 cap charge is 6.4 million.
Okay.
So if you take that into account, Chiefs fans, we lost an awesome player. Don't get me wrong, but now we have more weapons. We have more cash free. By the way, we're 12th in free cap space currently with 91 players. So, when that gets down to the 51-man roster, we might be 12th or 10th in cap space.
Right on.
Which will come in handy when someone releases a decent player that we need to fill a position.
Right.
So that's what I wanted, just to kind of give everyone, and even in my opinion, right? What was Tyreek Hill worth to us as a player? Not only on the field, but, calculated costs that we have to pay. And I see why Beach did it and why we brought in these other players.
Well, there was no way in the world that we were going to match what Miami coughed up for him anyway. You know,
120 million, and I think 57 million guaranteed. I think
something like that. Yeah.
I'm going up to find it. Fully guaranteed money is 52,500,000. And contract value is 120 million, which is 30 million a year.
So now is he I mean, does he have any incentives then? I mean, will
Well,
any
it
of that
has-
money fall off if he don't get him to
Yeah.
the playoffs? Or
Well, it has to be because fully guaranteed is only 52. So there's got to be a lot of caveats in that contract
gotcha.
because he's got to perform, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't
So
make
these
that kind of money not perform.
Yeah, these contracts in the past few years have been very player friendly, which is good for them.
Right.
The downside is, as a fan, if we're paying 25% or 20% of our salary to one person, they get injured and we got to pay them out,
Mm-hmm.
that's dead money. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yep.
So even if we traded a good player, which we've done in the past, Dwayne Bowe, to Cleveland, I think it was.
Yes, it was the Cleveland.
I mean, we took 2 years of a big cap hit and dead money on that stuff. That's another reason why, and I'm just speculating, why the Badger might not be there,
Right.
because if you look at the contract he signed, we could have signed him easily.
Yeah, he didn't make a ton of money in his move, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking for, I have it in all my notes here. MBS, sorry, that's MBS. I almost gave you the wrong information.
Oh, don't give me that info. Don't give me that info.
You know what? I did not pull his data, but I know it was really close to, what we could have paid easily. But we didn't want to give him a big contract, which is what I think he was looking for.
Right. Well, and let's face it. I mean, no offense to the Badger himself, but I think that was a lesson learned on him is that he thought he was going to get that from KC.
Yeah.
And then when he didn't, he got out into the real world and realized that he wasn't. Nobody was going to pay him for what he thought he was worth.
Yeah. So I did find it. Sorry, it was at the top of my notes. This year he got 11 million cash payout and 3.4 million cap charge. Evidently he must only sign maybe a 2-year contract because it's showing contract value of 27 million. So I'm guessing that's a 2-year contract.
Right on. So where did he end up going?
He ended up, hold on. Crap.
You got to think about this for a minute.
Hold on. And I'm not going to use my Googles. Crap.
He's
Washington.
thinking,
did he go to Washington?
I honestly do not know. Where did the honey badger go, Gun?
I think
I don't know.
I think it went to Washington. Now you can Google it after I gave my guess.
Your guess.
Look it up. Google it. Because I like being right.
Yeah, he's got this thing about being right.
Well, again, I don't want to use Googles. My hands are free.
Let's see if I can get there before.
And by the way, just for the last bit on his contract, he was ranked 18th out of 214th in money at safety.
Really?
Yeah.
By the way, you're wrong.
The Saints.
Damn it. So, Saints go marching in. No one.
That'd be a good place for him. Saints are a good spot for him to land, take his leadership there and turn them around. Okay, Gunner. So I'm glad you can make it. You do look tired. You do look tired, buddy. You look worn out.
My brain is beat. My brain is definitely beat.
But we did go through the draft, and I don't know what you had prepped or thought about, or if you had any comments.
I prepped absolutely nothing. That's why I kind of didn't feel bad about not being here. And I was like, I want to make sure Dad had everything good to go. And
yeah,
it's been a long week so far, man.
Yeah, he told me about it.
Yeah,
but it was very interesting. Like I said, I spent about an hour looking at cap money spent on wide receiver core and the honey badger, just to see how good they did and how good we did. Losing a great player is not always a super bad thing,
Right.
Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. We'll find out. We won't know till the season's over, right?
Yep.
Well, that's exactly it. Well, I mean, we're gonna know, 6-7 games in. When we get to that point, then we'll have a better idea of what we speculated here today, and whether Justin Ross is in, is okay, or whether Trent McDuffie is going to be, the next great corner or whatever. So we'll figure it out.
Or Juju picked his game up again,
Right.
becomes the player that he was. Was that because, Big Ben was on his last leg? I don't know. The offensive line sucked. I don't know. Hopefully Juju could play up to what I think his potential is, as a veteran, and help coach, a lot of these rookies. It's all about player engagement, when you're in practice, preseason, and in game.
Right.
All it takes is one look from one of these receivers that are veterans, a wink that tells him, hey, this guy's coming in, you go out. You know what I mean? That's all it takes. And then you got a home run,
Yeah, it's all about the communication. Very important with communication.
Yep, 100%. So I mean that's what I think we're gonna see in my mind in the first few games. As much as practice is practice, with all the rules in place, there's very little contact. You play a preseason game, but you know how that goes, for preseason. Is how do they react as a new team, especially with a new receiving core. So that's what I want to see.
Then you talk about everything with the draft and losing all these guys and all these great players we've had. But that's the thing is you building a new team. You don't know if those guys really affected what our team was before. We have good players that weren't just those big name players. So these new guys coming in could be just as good.
That's the hope.
Yeah, exactly. And well, you don't get a good player unless you draft him and teach him and get him in there. So
my comparison, you missed it, was what we did to the offensive line. We totally revamped our offensive line last year, and it took them a game or two, to really start to gel. But man, by the end of the season, they were awesome.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping out of the new defensive players and, the new receiving core.
Yep. It just takes time.
Yep.
There's a song about that.
Well, I've been on a Chiefs kick all day, man. I had my Red Kingdom playlist up, jamming out to some Tech Nine and
Nice.
Beastie Boys and stuff like that. So I've been on a Chiefs kick all day. I'm happy to be here with you guys. And Gunnar, I'm so glad you made it, even though it's towards the end. Do you have an opinion on the draft and what you remember from everybody who was drafted this year?
Not so much. Just like I said before, I'm just excited to see what happens with the players we did pull. And I'm sure you guys mentioned everything about McDuffie and all those guys that we drafted. And I'm excited to see how some of these young players do, and even some of the trade ups we did. I mean, we made some big moves, and I think that's all that really matters is that we're making the changes to try to make ourselves better. So
yeah.
So I have to ask each of you a question about the draft.
Let's ask Gunnar about his hat. Is that a new hat?
No, this is an old hat. I got this one. Oh man, I think I got this in Gatlinburg when we were down there.
Really?
Yeah, I've had this hat for a long time. It's got wear and tear.
Would you like to see the Chiefs' new hat? Phil's new hat?
Let's see. Is it a cowboy hat?
Yeah.
No. The Masters chaps.
Look at that. Can you see that?
Oh, 10-year season ticket member. Nice.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. I just showed up on my doorstep. It said One Arrowhead Drive, and I'm like, anything that comes from One Arrowhead Drive's got a rock.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I went out and looked on my front doorstep. And there was nothing.
Thanks for being a not yet exactly day.
Yeah, not look at they could have put the 1 day season ticket holder.
You might get that hat when you go to your first game.
Oh, there we go. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that he buys at the gift shop.
Yeah, know that to be true. Okay, you have one question for us. All right.
One question about the draft.
This is Phil's question of the pod.
Which of you had your wives watch the draft with you, and if they did, how long did they last?
Sarah did not watch the draft with me. I watched the first round. I'm a first rounder, so I watch what happens in the first round. Now Colton watched the draft during the call, guys.
Oh,
So he was on watching the whole thing. So I think we actually started recording call guys during like maybe round 2 or 3. So I had already watched round 1. So I was kind of away from it at that point. But yeah, Sarah could care less, I'm sure, about the draft. We might talk about it a little bit. It's so funny that you asked that question because
I have an answer at the end after both of you answer it.
Oh, look at it.
Oh.
Sarah's on the phone.
Hi.
she's listening to us talk.
Oh,
Um,
well, tell her
so-
she's missing out. She's a huge fan. This is the next
Yep.
evolution in
She
being
will-
a football fan.
Yep. Watch
She
the
will
draft.
she will be on here in a few weeks. So
Yep.
So Jeremy,
It's funny because there's a picture that shows up on my Facebook every year as a memory, and it's my wife Bobby making a horrible face, and the caption says, "He's making me watch the draft." I am always stuck in the back bedroom back in here in my studio when the
Yeah.
draft is on because she doesn't like to watch the draft. She likes to watch football. She loves the Chiefs. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to the draft, if it ain't just all about the Chiefs, then she's not really overly interested in it. And, for me, the draft is watching and learning some of these players that are coming in and seeing their highlight reels and these
Yeah.
analysts talking about them. That way down the road, when you see them playing, you have a better idea of who they are and where they come from. Because let's face it, we've been through this many times where you're like, well, this guy is, this is his 4th season, but you're just now recognizing him in
Yep.
whatever team he's playing for. Could be Green Bay, could be Pittsburgh, who knows? But, you see these guys come up and you're like, oh, well, but if you watch the draft, you would have known about them. And of course, there's the ones that you think you're going to watch and you never, ever hear from them ever again. So,
oh yeah,
ventures.
the answer to your question is 0. There was 0 time with me watching the draft.
all
Now,
right.
the combine may be
So-
different though, because
Well,
that's just enjoyable to watch sometimes too.
yeah. So Karen listened to the draft on the ride down to the campground.
Uh-huh.
I think they were around pick 8 or 9 by the time we got there. She sat and watched like a half hour drinking her beer. She got up from the table, turned around, went upstairs into the camper, shut the door, and that was
She was done.
about I gotta say 11:45 or something. She came out. She's like, "This is still on."
Oh,
I was like, "Yes, hon, I'll be in when it's over." And I think it was about a half hour later it was over. And unfortunately, you were watching the wrong channel.
I was.
as I recall, because
yes.
I sent you a nice picture of,
Yeah.
Travis Kelce sitting up on the platform talking about, his career and these new players coming in for a little bit. And then I think not Snoop Dogg, but the other guy, oh gosh, he's been in a lot of movies. Not Snoop Dogg, but oh my gosh, I'm losing my brain. Not Boys to Men. Crap.
Boys to Men. Where did that come from?
No, the one that sings F the Police.
What is it? Ice Cube.
Yeah, no, not Ice Cube. Yeah,
Ice
so
tea, ice,
It's
vanilla
Ice Cube.
ice.
yeah, so he's a huge Raiders fan.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was on there for about 20 minutes as well. Come to find out, he's actually the head of their external fan club.
Oh, right.
I did not know that. He did not want to be that. He just wanted to be a normal person, like us that joins these fan clubs.
Right.
And I guess after going to a couple of the events that they put together, they said, "Hey man, you got to do this for us." So
You're stuck now, buddy.
I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, don't watch the other channel.
Yeah, that's what I was watching. Yeah.
Sorry.
Next year I'll call you and I'll find out which one you're watching.
I just watched the mainstream one. I don't want to say channels just in case.
See, I thought I was on a mainstream one. I thought it was on a big one.
Yeah, but when
apparently
Kelsey came up, he was dressed to the T's, man.
Yeah.
Like it normally is, and I was just dying. I'm like, yes, there's my boy.
Damn that Travis
Yeah.
Kelsey. What a sexy man. Oh, I mean, did I say that out loud again? God.
So the funny part is, so the next day comes around. It started at noon, I think, round 2. He's either 10, 11, or I can't remember. Either way, I changed the channel. Karen gets up at our normal, 1 p.m. and she's like, "You're watching the draft again?" I'm like, "Yes,
honey, it's
Why-
3 days. It's 3 days long. You understand that? Just go.
Yeah.
Just go.
And I'll be honest, probably about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, I was done, and
Yeah.
I did not watch the third day, to be honest. But I did watch the whole first, night and 2/3 of the second day. So
It depends. I usually watch first round, the first night, and if I can get back to the second and third day, then I'll watch some of it. But usually in the second, into the third day, I'm kind of keeping an eye on where the Chiefs are picking at, and that's when I'll usually just kind of go back in to see how close they were. Always get pissed when they trade out. It's like, oh, I've been waiting for 2 hours for them to pick, and they traded their damn pick.
I
Just
know.
stupid shit like that. But
well, Beach for years would trade out of the first round. I think he did that a couple years in a row.
oh, really? Is that a
traded-
salary thing?
No, to get more picks in the second round.
Oh.
Or third round or whatever.
Hey, it doesn't matter, man. You can get some of the best picks in the
Well-
4th, 5th, or 6th, 7th round. I mean,
Well, that's what I was telling you.
Yeah.
Point being that we were already number 28, 29, or 32 for that matter, right?
Right.
Because we won the Super Bowl. Beach is like, you guys want to take it? Give me
Yeah.
two second rounds and a third or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
So I was surprised that he kept both first round picks. I totally expected him to use one and pick the best player they needed on the board and use the second one to trade away for a second, third, and 4th round pick or whatever. Because I totally expected that. And when he didn't do that, I was very surprised. But he got us a great, defensive players.
Yes. Yeah. I think that George from Purdue is going to be amazing. I think he's going to be the player
Yeah.
that we really need to pay attention to.
Is that because you're a Purdue alumni?
I am not a Purdue alumni.
Or no, that's
I
right.
just have friends.
Sorry, your
Yeah.
friends are. My
I
bad.
have several friends that are big Purdue fans and so on. It was also interesting too that was it Brian Cook? I believe. Hold on, let me double check. Brian Cook. No, which one was it that was? Which one was it that was in the MAC?
There was what?
He was in the MAC, the conference, the MAC. Yeah, it's Sky Moore,
Was he
the wide receiver.
CMU?
He was Western Michigan.
Western Michigan.
Yeah. So, he was in the MAC, which means he would have played in the same conference as Ball
Ball
State.
State.
Gotcha.
And so looking back and check this out. I don't know if I ever told you this, but when Gunner was down at Ball State, I used to go to the games all the time. And we actually got to see Kareem Hunt play when he still played for Toledo.
Did not know
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
We didn't know that till after we like, wait, I think we watched him play.
Who was the other one that we saw? Sneed?
Did we see Sneed? I'd have to look it up to make sure. I don't remember.
I think so. He was a big player. I can't remember who it was exactly. But yeah, CMU or Western Michigan, one of the two.
So yeah, I'm not a huge college fan. Watching it, I'll watch a game here and there from a zoo. Funny story is we were driving to a Chiefs game on I-70 and outside of St. Louis, in between St. Louis and Columbia.
Mhm.
And we kept seeing these tails on people's trunk. I'm like, what the hell is that? And we stopped at a rest stop and they kindly asked the person, why is everyone driving with tails in their, in their trunk? And he's like, oh, we're going to the Mizzou game. That's what we do. I'm like,
Right on.
all right. I said, I'm down with that.
Yep.
I don't know what Ball State does. Do they fly flags? Do they,
We chirp, baby. We chirp. Let me see if I can get this right here. We chirp,
Sure.
Wrong hand. Yeah, it's the Cardinals, so you got to chirp, 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 chirp.
That
chirp.
can't be loud in a stadium.
Oh yeah.
It's loud.
That's a.
Well, not like Arrowhead, obviously, but yeah.
Well, obviously nobody's as loud as Arrowhead, but I mean,
I think I still lost my hearing from setting that record twice.
I tell you what, though, Ball State is a great place to see a football game. They always have a really good crowd, and yeah, it's just a good time.
Do they sell alcohol?
They do.
They
now,
do
yes.
now, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
My freshman and sophomore years at Ball State were great for college football.
Because they had alcohol, or
No, that was before any of that. But we just had a great. Our student section was great.
Mhm.
Okay.
The alumni section was great. It was loud. There were a lot of people. My
Nice.
junior and senior year, nothing. It
Yep.
was not great. We lost all those guys that went to every game, and
Well, you guys lost Mitch.
yeah, we did.
I mean, Mitch was a student, and he had a sign. So every time they got a first down, they would say, "Well, wait a second, something that's a first."
1, 2, 3, first down, Mitch. But it
Alrighty
wasn't
then.
always Mitch.
It wasn't always Mitch.
I prefer that's good for a Kansas City Chiefs.
First down. Yep,
Yep.
yep, we know it.
Good old Mitch Holtis.
I love
Yeah, you
Mitch.
gotta love him.
Yep.
All right, well, nice job tonight there, Phil. Gunner, I'm glad you could make it.
Sorry I'm late.
No,
Glad
you're
to be
fine.
here.
Hey, we're happy to have you. And I think we're gonna wrap this up. But you wouldn't happen to have socials on you, would you?
Do I have socials? I do. They're all right up here.
Oh hell.
They're all right up here.
Do it to it, my boy.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Indiana Chiefs Fans Podcast. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also find us on Facebook. That is facebook.com/INChiefsFansPod. You can go check us out, like our page, send us comments on there. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know if your wife watched the draft.
Yeah.
we want to know. We need to know.
Yeah. That's pretty much all we got for socials right now. I don't have a TikTok up yet or an Instagram, but we will get there eventually.
Slacker.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, listen.
Been a little busy. That's okay though. I'm here.
Now your dad told me how busy you've been, so
Yeah.
I can empathize. Trust me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Also, if you do want to send us any recommendations, emails, comments, anything like that, you can send that to Indiana or oh god.
Yeah.
What's that email?
inchiefsfanspodcast@gmail.com.
There you go. inchiefsfanspodcast@gmail.com.
Perfect. All right, gentlemen, thank you. And from our little slice of the Red Kingdom here in Indiana, we want to thank you guys for listening to us, and we will see and talk to you again next week. Later.